This is a Z89 exclusive interview.
Welcome back to A Brief Intermission, the show where you can take a brief intermission from your day and get the front row delivery of all of the backstage theater news here in Central New York. My name is Isabella Galan, and I am joined today by Temar Underwood, the artistic director at Redhouse Arts Center and the director of their current production of Guys and Dolls. Temar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's so good to be with you, Isabella.
Yeah, so first, I want to hear a little bit more about your theater background, how you got involved in the industry, and what has kept you staying around all these years.
Well, the funny thing is, I came to theater a little bit late compared to other people that are in the industry. I didn't really get involved until high school. And funny enough, my junior year of high school, I was in a production of Guys and Dolls.
Wow, so
Yeah.
full circle.
Yes. And, I think every theater person has that production early in their career that makes them fall in love with theater and with
Yeah.
the industry, and sort of makes them follow that path and that journey and that track. And truly, Guys and Dolls was that for me. I played Nicely Johnson in my high school production of Guys and Dolls. And I remember there was an assembly. You know, when you're in high school, you have to do an assembly where you perform a couple of numbers from the show. And I performed Sit Down, You're Rockin' the Boat during the assembly. And just the support and like raucous applause from, my peers at the time really stuck with me and showed me, oh, this is what theater can do. It can move people. And, jaded high school kids, aren't necessarily into theater if they aren't into theater. And so just to see the positive response that garnered, I was hooked and wanted to continue to do that and provide that for audiences.
Yeah. So how long have you been at Redhouse?
At Redhouse, I have been artistic director for just a little over 4 years. I lived in New York City for about 20 years. I moved to Syracuse in 2021 to become the artistic director here. So I spent 20 years just in the arena, acting and directing and writing and producing in New York City. And then I think maybe 10 or 12 years ago, I booked a gig at Redhouse as an actor. And I really fell in love with the community. And I think for about 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 years, I would book a gig at Redhouse maybe like once a year. And when the opportunity for an artistic director came up, I took it because I love the community and I love the mission and the work that Redhouse does.
Yeah. So talk about your role then as artistic director, coming in with that experience as being a writer, being a producer, and being on stage as well. How have you brought those skills that you learned on stage and in New York City to then be the artistic director here? And what are kind of your day-to-day operations?
Well, I think the main role that I have as artistic director is to curate a season. We usually do.
Such a fun job. Such a fun job.
Yes, that is one of the fun parts of the job, is sort of creating a season that tries to serve the community, tries to have a diversity in terms of the kinds of shows that we're doing. So we'll do a big sort of well-known show like Guys and Dolls, but we also want to do shows that the community might not have ever interacted with and were engaged with, and provide that opportunity. So that's where shows like Da that we're doing later this season, or the MFer with the hat. I'm abbreviating MFer, but
Thank you.
yes. That happening later in the season is something that our audiences, our community might not be that familiar with. So it's a delicate balance, trying to give them well-known, exciting things, but also lesser known, rarely done things that they can engage with. That's the fun part. Another fun part of the job is I love engaging artists in the community, and providing them an opportunity to show their stuff and do the work that they do. I think that the Red House is very much rooted in the community.
Mm.
Yes, we bring in actors from New York or LA or Chicago to be in our productions, as well as designers and sometimes directors. But at the core, the base is the community. And I just love, sending an actor or a designer an opportunity to come work and do their thing. Um, the less fun part of the job is sort of the desk work,
Mm.
which is creating budgets for the season. You
Yeah.
have a budget, you have to allocate those funds. That's not always fun. Raising money because we're a not-for-profit, and so it's tough to get people to donate money so that you can do the work and serve the community. So um, making those asks is not always the most fun part, but it's a necessary part of the position.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned like for the community and how important it is to have these opportunities for people to go and experience live theater. It's not just in New York City on Broadway. There's so many intricate theater scenes, and Syracuse has a really, really strong one. So why do you think it is so important for people to continue and prioritize going out and seeking live theater performances?
There is nothing like live theater. Um, you go to a show, it's different than going to a movie, because when you go to a movie, it's the same every time. But when you go to theater, what happens in that theater, in that room, I will say, and the people in that room, along with the performers and the crew, what happens in that room only exists in that room on
Mm.
that day at that time. It is a special, unique experience. If you
Yeah.
go on a Friday night, what is happening, the energy, the spirit in the room, it only exists there. You go another night, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. The ghosts are different. The energy is different. The exchange of drama and again energy in the room only exists in that space and that time, and it's a unique thing. People have predicted the death of theater for generations, but the thing that keeps it alive is that the experience is unlike any other because because the space and time and the thing that happens in the room is only there in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's always drawn me to the theater. I grew up not performing in theater, but I was a dancer for a majority of my life. So kind of being on the stage and they always bring in those classic musical theater numbers where you're dancing to a song from Chicago or a song from The Wiz. Like we were always surrounded by that. And to see how many shows really do go on in Syracuse has been a really eye-opening experience for me because I didn't know that before I came here and realized how many outlets there are to witness theater. So kind of shifting the focus to Guys and Dolls now, what made you
Yes.
choose that show specifically for this season?
Well, I think that, guys, and it's the holiday season,
Yeah.
obviously, and I think oftentimes um, theaters like to program, something that is sort of holiday themed. Um, and Guys and Dolls is not necessarily a holiday show in terms of the plot and the story and the aesthetic, but I think at the center of it is the heart, the soul, the interactions, the romance, all of that the feeling that it evokes, I think, is really what we are looking for in the holidays. And I've always wanted to do a production of Guys and Dolls because Guys and Dolls exists on a binary. It's Guys and Dolls.
Hmm.
And I wanted to do a production that made sure that I was inclusive of folks in the community that don't necessarily identify as a guy or a doll. So we're telling the story, we're doing Guys and Dolls, but what you see on stage are people that have gender expressions that are not necessarily on the binary.
Mm.
And I think that what's important about that is one, inclusion. And the other thing is that people that around the holidays, people that have a different gender expression than what is the binary that we've all grown up with, still celebrate the holiday, still fall in love, still feel the spirit of the season, and want to belong and should belong. And I think that's why I wanted to do this show at the holidays and intentionally be inclusive about who is performing the show, so that we in this season where we prioritize joy and belonging, we include people that Guys and Dolls might exclude. And I thought that was important for us in the world that we live in now to do that.
Absolutely. That is so incredible. And I feel like we are starting to see a little bit more of that, but to see that you guys are putting that and making that a really strong focus is really, really incredible. And amazing that you're then exposing not only the audience to different types of actors, but giving other actors different opportunities that they maybe thought they wouldn't be able to fulfill for certain roles.
Right, because there are people in this show that live their life with a certain gender expression, and there's a saying that all actors wear a mask, but the better the actor, the sheerer the mask.
Mm.
And I think some actors that are gender nonconforming or trans don't often get to be in theater and not wear a really opaque mask. And
Mm.
I think what I wanted to do with this production is say, hey, we're going to do Guys and Dolls. We're not changing anything, but I want to do it in a way that your character can be as close to your your true life gender expression as possible.
I love that. And besides taking that direction with it, as a director, what have you found anything to be really challenging about this production that you didn't necessarily think about going into it? Or were there things that you found that you ended up loving, like a scene or something that you didn't quite resonate with before, now seeing it with this new cast?
The challenge was time. I don't think that I have ever directed a production where we're going into opening night and I think, oh, I wish I had one more week.
Yeah.
So
It's quick
the time,
turnaround.
yeah, it's a very quick turnaround. I mean, we rehearsed for 3.5 weeks, a big show with 29 people.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this cast has developed such a wonderful community of artists that really support each other, that they rose to the occasion. And by 2 nights ago, after 3.5 weeks, we're like, we need an audience, we need an audience. So I think that was really exciting and challenging for sure. I think one of the things that I fell in love with about the show, and actually something that I discovered about the show, which is probably common knowledge, and I just came to it late, is that it's a true like romantic comedy. I think it is one of the great romantic comedies, and one, I think that fits into the season beautifully, to the holiday season beautifully. And I also think that as we were building the world of the show, that realization is that, oh, we're doing a romantic comedy, really helped me fall in love with the moments of love. the moments when characters fall in love with each other, the moments when characters have a fight and then come back to each other. I think that is so sweet and wonderful, a sweet and wonderful thing about the show.
Yeah. And why do you think, besides the holiday season and just, everyone loves a rom-com. Everyone loves that feeling, getting to see the conflict, but then they make up, and that's just so what the show is about.
Yeah,
But besides that, why do you think people in Syracuse should come out and see this version of the show?
I think one, it's beautiful. We have some wonderful designers. It's in the round.
That was going to be my next question too, because I was like, I'm pretty sure they're in the round. So don't want to, obviously you can finish this thought too, but then also on top of that, want to add, like, how is it directing and having to stage a play in a round theater where there isn't really an off stage? Like, there's not really a wing to really go into, or you
Yeah,
have to play to all directions.
the playing to all sides is the toughest part of directing in the round, and you just have to be diligent,
Mhm.
and you just have to, as a director, watch the show from all sides. I never, if I'm watching a run of the show, I never watch act one and act two from the same position,
Mm.
because or from the same seat, because I need to see if the work is being translated to all sides. And it's all about diagonals, and and the thing about Guys and Dolls that's interesting is that most productions, they're tableaus, right? There's a scene that's a tableau, there's another scene that's a tableau. And I think the thing we had to discover in rehearsal is creating the tableau and figuring out how to move it
Mm.
around the space. So I think that that was a challenge and fun to do. And I think that the actors rose to the occasion. And I think what's great about it is there really isn't a bad seat in the house. You can sit anywhere in the theater and you're going to get the show.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Is there anything that I didn't ask about either your experience as artistic director or as director of Guys and Dolls or even just about the show in general, that you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think you did a great job of guiding me to covering everything. What I would say to everyone is Guys and Dolls is a show from the 50s. And I know that we are doing a production that is purposefully inclusive, but um, it is still a family show. It's a show that you can bring your kids to, and and fall in love with these wacky vagabond characters, and um, come away with the holiday spirit. I know that, like, during this time of year, families, whether they're blood family or chosen family, and the thing about Guys and Dolls is it's really about chosen family. Um, you're trying to evoke a positive feeling. You want to come out of something you see around this time with, humming the tunes.
Mm.
And this show does that. It is truly a warm hug. And the other thing I would mention is the dancing in this show is wonderful.
Oh, it's
It
my
is.
favorite part of a show. My favorite
Yes,
part
yes.
is always just watching the dancers.
Yes. And I think, intentionally, I wanted this production of Guys and Dolls to be more dance forward than some of the other productions you've seen at Redhouse in recent years. So if you're a fan of dance, Felipe Panama, who was the choreographer, really created something wonderful in terms of the dance in this production. And what's cool about it, because I like to keep a 2025 perspective on things, even though it's set in the 50s, is that it seamlessly marries the sort of classic jazz dance style with some modern street dance.
Love.
So those crap shooters are doing the jazz dances, but there's a little popping and locking in some moments as well. So it's really, really cool.
I absolutely love that. I am going to find my way down to go see it for sure. And I know so many more people are going to go and support the show as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Also, just final way to push out the show, where people can find tickets, what dates the shows are running, and things like that.
Yeah, you can find tickets at the redhouse.org. You can call for tickets. Gretel, our box office manager, will take care of you. It's 315-362-2785. The show opens tonight at 7 p.m. and it runs until Sunday, December 21st.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am so excited for this production, and I know a lot of people are as well. So thank you so much for joining us here at Z89.
Thank you so much, Isabella.